श्री सच्चिदानंद सद्गुरु साईनाथ महाराज की जय। सद्गुरु श्री साईनाथ निशरत बाबूजी की जय। RosePetals, Volume 3, Chapter 10, Reservoir of Grace. Devotee. Guruji, when we receive Baba's grace, we no longer feel helpless, but at the same time, we realize our basic helplessness. Which comes first, grace or helplessness? Guruji, your helplessness comes first, then the grace. When help is given and you know it has come from Him, the whole process is grace. Grace is not a thing or substance. The whole process that makes you happy, saved, and helped is called grace. Devotee. Guruji, when we are helped by grace, how do we know it has come from Baba? Guruji, He will make you aware of it. That is Baba's way. He not only gives you something, He also makes you aware He has given it. The experiences with Baba are infallible, unmistakable, and in that respect, they are unique. If you ask for something and it is given, somehow or other, you'll come to know He has given it. Somebody has an accident. The car rolls over, but he is not hurt. Then, just as he looks up, another vehicle goes by and he sees Baba's photo on the rear window. Then he knows, I am at your back, I have taken care of you. The car was just passing by, but he saw the photo. Baba makes you aware of it. He is very particular about that. Devotee. How can we increase our receptivity to grace? Guruji, that's a very tricky question. If you ask how to get grace, I would say increase your receptivity. How to increase your receptivity to grace means your need has to be so great that the grace will just flood into you. So it's the need. What is our need? What is our objective? Do we really need it? If you need it, then the need itself makes you receptive. If you are hungry, you are receptive to food. If you are thirsty, you are receptive to water. If you are not thirsty, even if I give you a glass of water, you'll reject it. You don't have the receptivity, the susceptibility to it. So, receptivity comes out of need. And once receptivity is there, as Baba said, there are cartloads of grace to take. Grace is always there. It is abundant. It is actually trying to flood into you. If you are receptive, you will get it. Receptivity comes out of your need. And to link these together, receptivity and need, how we get grace and how we assimilate it, for all these things, some knowledge and understanding is needed. That is what I'm trying to give you. Devotee. Is there anything we can do to get realization? Guruji. Here again comes the fundamental question. What is the way to get grace? To have the need. We think that we need realization, that we need mukti or sakshatkar, but really we don't need it. If we really needed it, we'd get it. The only criteria for grace is need because it is grace. Grace always works corresponding to need. Otherwise, it is not grace. It is thrusting something upon you that you don't need. And if I thrust something on you that you don't really need, you won't call it grace. Try to ask yourself again, even at this stage of your seeking, do I really need what I am seeking for? If not, what actually have I been trying for? And what prevents me from obtaining it? If it is only an intellectual conception of freedom, self-realization, nirvana or whatever that has been driving you to do all these things and you really need something else, then fulfilling that also, there's nothing wrong with it. Because if you really need something, there is no question of not receiving grace. I don't say grace is the only way, it's the only path. There is nothing you can do, no effort is needed. No, I don't say that. First, I am saying if you can get fulfillment by your own efforts, then come on, do it. I love it. If you don't get it, or if you are sure you can't get it by yourself, then you have no alternative than to seek grace from someone else. But when you are seeking it, don't think, oh, I don't want to beg. I want to help myself, not be at someone's mercy. You are already at someone's mercy, so accept that. Or, if you want to help yourself, then help yourself. I like it. I give first preference to that. This whole question of grace versus effort is solved by one factor: love. If you love something, you don't have choices or preferences of your own. But as long as you don't experience that, it is only theoretical, of course. You can love someone so much that you give up having likings and dislikings of your own. The only solution for overcoming the complexity of human nature is love. Those for whom that love is awakened, who experience it, for them it is easy to overcome their resistances, their preferences, and their inability to accept their own helplessness. In fact, they don't feel helpless, they feel really helped, and they don't experience their helplessness as something bad. I have given the example of a small child. Is there anyone more helpless than a small child? But she doesn't know this. She doesn't realize it. She is not troubled by it. She experiences the help and love of the parents who take care of her, and she enjoys it. She revels in it. One has to become like that. Then the so-called helplessness is not negative. It becomes so beautiful. As long as somebody is there to help with love, the most beautiful thing in the world is helplessness, isn't it? Or, if you want to help yourself, you can help yourself as I told you. It's good. First do it. Devotee. But isn't experiencing the beauty of helplessness also the Guru's grace? Or are some people just that way by nature? Guruji. It is grace. Some may experience it more fully or in a quicker way. Others resist it because of the strong hold of their past patterns. Love can melt the hardness of these patterns, but they don't want to be melted. They don't want to acknowledge love at all. They resist it. Devotee. I was reading that Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi said that grace is always flowing and that the Sadguru can direct the grace. Guruji. There is no discrepancy between the statements. Grace is always there and the Sadguru can direct it in a particular way, so it's also personal. What Bhagavan wanted to say is, it's not some kind of impersonal grace. It's not simply that grace is everywhere and it's your headache whether you get it or not. It's not like that. Grace is everywhere, but if you're not able to experience it, a guru can help you to feel it. Not that he creates grace for that purpose. Rather, he makes you experience and enjoy the grace that is already there, always, everywhere. Devotee. Guruji, could you explain what you mean by grace being personal? Guruji. There are so many ways. See, now such a beautiful sea breeze is blowing. I have come here for the sake of the breeze, but for 24 hours I stay in my room. Only for these few minutes I come out on the terrace to enjoy the breeze, and if you are sitting where you feel the breeze, you might say, "Oh Guruji, the breeze is coming here from this direction. Please come and sit here." Then you are acting like a guru, helping me to experience the breeze by sitting there. That's all. I came following your direction, but the breeze was already there. Devotee. So it is true to say that grace is always flowing. Guruji. Yes, it is always flowing. Devotee. Is it also true to say we are not in the right state or position to receive this grace? Guruji. That is also true. then the Guru's role is to help direct grace, his personal grace, to help you experience the all pervading grace. Devotee. Does love for the Sadguru come from grace or can we make it happen? Guruji. Your effort is needed when something obstructs your experience of the love that is being given you. Your effort to remove the obstruction will help you experience the love more. When you are not hungry and have no appetite, even if a rich meal is served to you, you won't relish it. It's just like that. And sometimes, when you have an appetite and are very hungry, you don't get food. Then you also suffer. Devotee. So, how to take those obstructions away? Is it done through our own efforts or by the grace of the Sadguru? Guruji. Both are there. Devotee. When there is an obstruction to receiving grace, how should we try to remove it? Guruji. It depends on the individual because everyone needs to experience grace in a particular way. Depending on this, you have to act in the way that fulfills your need. Everybody has their own way. There is no common rule. If I say one has to do this, it may not apply to another person. Devotee. But Guruji, in those moments when I feel presence the strongest, it feels like it's presence itself that's carrying me to continue experiencing it. Guruji. That is my point. Presence is always doing this, but you only feel it strongly at certain moments. If you try to remove the obstacles to it, you'll always be carried by presence because presence is always there carrying you. But because you feel your own weight so much, you don't feel you're being carried. The moment the burden of your patterns is lessened, you'll feel lighter, like you're being carried. Devotee. Guruji, would you please say more about grace? Guruji. When you are trying to concretize your sense of fulfillment and you have tried and all your efforts have failed, then when help is given which is not connected to your efforts or merits, that is grace, something given in love, not as a charity. Devotee. By the Sadguru? Guruji. Whoever gives it is a Sadguru. Devotee. You said we draw grace. Do we draw it to ourselves by prayer, by calling on Baba? Guruji. Draw doesn't mean that it is hidden somewhere. It is always there knocking at your door. Drawing means opening the door, that's all. The power is already connected to the fan. By switching on the fan, you connect it to the power, but the power is always there. Devotee. So, in other words, it comes down to our willingness or openness to receive. Is that the key? Guruji. Yes, your openness to receive. And your openness again depends upon your need. The fan may be ready, but now it is so cool we don't need it, so we don't switch it on. So simple. But it is ready to be switched on to cool us at any time. Grace is like that. It has no power failures. There is an unbounded reservoir of grace. Shri Sachidananda Sadguru Sainath Maharaj ki Jai. Sadguru Shri Sainath Nisharat Babuji ki Jai.